All right, here we go with another one of our garden tours for the month of August, going into the fall weather. And right here, this bed has completely transformed since the last time that we were here. Right here, we have our Bush Jubilee watermelon. And if you look down here, you can see we have one of our first melons coming in, our long cayenne peppers. And remember, this bush was a volunteer, so it just came up. We had a volunteer back here as well. Has some peppers on it. I don't know what type of pepper that is. And if you look up here on the top, you're gonna see a butternut squash up there. And if you go down here, you're gonna see another butternut squash that's just starting off down there on the bottom. Some more butternut squash there coming up. Some of our dark opal basil. And this is our black pearl pepper. The more sunlight that it gets, the darker the leaves get. And you'll see from the short that I did earlier how light those leaves were, and now they're starting to get darker because that sun's been on it. 10,000 to 30,000 Scoville units, and that's in our first Vigo garden planter there. And we go over here to our second Vigo garden planter. So you can see when the pepper starts to turn red, that's when it gets to the hottest on the Scoville unit. Right here we have some Rosa Bianca eggplants. We've had some flea beetle damage on them, but we're not gonna worry about that. We go over here to our banana peppers, and the banana peppers are absolutely going crazy. Look at all that. Go down here, have some more of our banana peppers. Just banana peppers everywhere. And this here is a Black Beauty eggplant. We've already harvested a few off of it, but that's gonna be on the second round of what we're doing, because again, in the month of August, we hear so many people talking about that they've basically given up on the garden for the year and they're starting to plan on their fall garden. As you all have heard me say many a times before, I don't take anything out the garden. If the plant's still producing, we're gonna leave it in and we allow the garden to transition. So we're gonna go over here to our sweet potatoes. And this is one of our dry drums here. These are Georgia Jet sweet potatoes here. And you can see where she's starting to flower. And over here we have some Marsaki sweet potatoes. And this is another one of our dry drums. Look how big this thing has gotten since springtime. This is one of our 2 brown turkeys. And for the life of me, I have no idea what I've done to this plant to get it to take off like this. You look at all of this foliage going on. Now, the only negative to that is it's really not putting on any fruit, but I've done nothing to this plant to cause all of this growth. And this thing has taken off this year. And right here, we'll come over here to our black beans. And remember, this is where we were growing our elephant garlic earlier in the year. And if you come down here and look, it's got beans everywhere. If I wanted to cook these now, you see how light that is when it starts to take that color in and start to get a little purple tint to it. I pop that open. And that's what you have in there. Those are black beans. We'll come around here and we have some royal burgundy beans. See how pretty that is? Since I don't eat any beef or pork, I eat a lot of beans to get that protein in. And in the midst of all of this, we also have some of our radish. And you see those radish pods, so these are ready to bring the seeds out of. See, we got those radish seeds there. So we grow radish year round. And then I just drop them in there and let them self-seed themselves. We'll come over here to the A-frame. We have quite a few things going on over here because we have some sweetie tomatoes as well as some butterfly peas. And this makes a great tea, the butterfly peas. And the butterfly peas are courtesy of Miss Linda, the New Orleans gardener, so that's where I got those seeds from. These are lima beans here. Got those mixed in with the butterfly peas. So I have a whole lot of stuff just happening all over the place. Now this is the one thing that you guys have been asking me about. So the seeds are coming. And this is the black cherry tomatoes. Look at how beautiful that is. Those are my black cherry tomatoes. Now what they'll do is, as they start to ripen, they'll get a little tint on the bottom. Let me show you what that looks like. That's what it looks like. That's the black cherry tomato. We got some string beans here. And I grow beans all the way until the frost comes in and take them out. And then we turn them in and we use them as our cover crop. You see we have them all down here. It's time to harvest them. I also have our golden raspberries here. And in this bed, we pretty much did some succession planting. We'll have these, and actually these are to be harvested before those. So you're gonna see a lot more of the string beans over here. Look all through here. And what'll happen is, as this bed starts to transition out, we'll start to plant out our broccoli seedlings. And we'll come over here to this bed, have some more ancho poblanos here. Got some more of our dark opal basil in the middle, and that's for pest pressure. Another one of our black beauty eggplants here. And she was struggling from the Japanese beetle as well as the flea beetle, but we're starting to see a lot of new growth coming back on. So she's gonna be able to give us some more fruit before the season is out. Come over here, this is our old-timey blue collards are still holding up under our Japanese Heshiko onions for the little pest protection there. Right here we have some red raspberries, and you're starting to see they're putting on their new growth and they're getting ready to fruit again. Right here we have more string beans. You can see the flowers and they're just coming in. We're collecting a lot of string beans. We have another one of our black cherry tomatoes here. These fish peppers here are courtesy of Mike's Chaotic Gardening, and I really appreciate that. This turned out to be a real producer. And look at the variegated leaves on this thing. Looks like some paint spilled on it. This is a gorgeous plant. This is a paprika pepper here. Look how beautiful that is. Oh, look at this thing here. This one's been hiding up under there. This is another one of those mystery peppers. Have no idea what it is. There's a Goliath tomato here. And the Goliath tomato, one of the reasons why I was growing the Goliath tomato here for this time of the year is trying to see how well it'll hold up under all of this heat. And with these thick leaves on here, I think this is going to be one of my favorites moving forward into the next season in terms of being able to handle the heat and knowing which tomatoes are going to do a little better. And our golden zucchini down there. That's another golden zucchini over there. Is nothing. Oh, there is something. There's some of our golden zucchini down there. Yep. Right here we have some of our Orient Wonders. So we're letting these dry out so we can have some seeds for next year. Down here we have our ginger. Over here we have some more of our dark opal basil. And these are just some yellow squash over here. See, we got one down there. See, yellow squash. And we have pretty much the same thing that we have in the other bed. So I really like what's happening with this, but I got seeds off of this. So we're gonna be having plenty of scarlet kale. Ooh, that basil smells so good. We have some more of our fish peppers, courtesy of Mike's Chaotic Gardening. And these are coming in good as well. We have some more paprika here. And then we'll move over to our blueberry bushes. You can see all of this new growth in here. This new growth is telling you that it's time to fertilize. Berries are gonna be on this going into the spring of next year. Your berries for this year or going into the fall are gonna be on this darker stuff. Anytime I start seeing this new growth like this, I know that it's time to fertilize. So we're going to be fertilizing with our cottonseed meal. We're going to have a whole video for you on when to know when your blueberry plants are ready to be fertilized. Here again, you see all of this new growth? We need to have that fertilizer in, so by the time it pushes out all of this new growth and start to fruit again, then we'll be ready for the next season with these blueberries. Once again, new growth. Look at all that new growth. And you got to take into account now, these bushes were put in last year. They're not even a year old. And already, I'm 5'10", and these are already close to my height. This is one of our brown turkey figs. And you can see the birds have already been getting to them. They love the figs. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go ahead and pick these off before we go any further. That one's not ready. But you see all the figs are starting to come ripe. Got figs all the way down. And let's see if we can find some ripe ones. Look at this. The birds have already ripped this one off. This is what the birds do. So you have to get your fruit before the birds do. Give it a little squeeze test. If they're soft to the touch, that means that they're ready. So right now we don't have any that's ready because the few that were ready, the birds have already got them. So now I'll come back tomorrow and these will be ready. It's got a little tender to it, but just not tender enough. We go over here to our banana plants. Look how well these are doing. Now this particular one here, this is one of the fastest fruiting bananas. This is a Vente Cojo. And if you look down at the bottom, we got 3 pups. So you have our dwarf Orinoco, and this gets about 8 to 10 feet tall. The Vente Cojo is gonna get about 6 to 8 feet tall. The Vente Cojo is one of the fastest producing bananas out there. So I'm not sure if we'll even get any fruit off of it this year, but at least we got them started and we'll be able to put them in their permanent home coming in the near future. So we'll walk over here. There's some spineless okra. Everything out here is ready to harvest. That's why I wanted to give this walkthrough before I came out here and did my harvest. And right here we have our shooting star eggplant. That's ready to be harvested. You see some more coming in already. Got plenty of them coming in. We have radish down here. And you can see here again our radish pods. And you can eat these radish pods. When they're green like that, tastes like a snap pea, a spicy snap pea. So right here we have some more of our strawberries, and you can see them starting to come back, and these are Ozark everbearing. So they're gonna give you fruit on and off all year. We had the deer get into the garden a while back, and the deer kind of gave us a setback, but we're just keeping it moving. Up top, we have some more, and these are June bearings, but these are California giants, and we just let those run wild. And again, everything's ready to be harvested. That's why I wanted to do a walkthrough to let you guys see that even in the month of August, we're still getting fruit off. Everything around here is still thriving. So big part of that is, look how thick that mulch is. And you see, even when you go up under that mulch, how it starts to get dark, it's telling you that moisture is under there. That's at least 3 inches of mulch. And then look how dark the soil is. That's what you want to do when this heat comes in. And in order to get those plants to survive with this heat, you got to mulch those beds really good. And right here we have some Asian eggplants. And this is ready to be harvested. Have some more coming in up top. Have some more coming in up top. But what we do with this is we make our dip. So it's pretty much close to a guacamole dip. But this is one of the greatest little secrets of these Asian eggplants. If you're not making the dips with them, you don't know what you're missing. This is a zucchini. You see she's starting to put on. Got little zucchinis already popping up all down there. And right here, remember our Georgia candy roasters. They got hit by the squash vine borer, the squash bug, pickle worm. They're making a great comeback. You see how beautiful this plant is coming now? And this is the other one that's coming off of that same plant. Look how beautiful that's coming up. And this is a Georgia candy roaster squash. Come over here, and this is one of the hottest peppers in the world. She's just now starting to put on flowers. So we're gonna definitely be getting some peppers out of this one. Over here, you got a long cayenne. A lot of green ones still on here. It's the long cayenne. Down here are peanuts. Now you might be asking, like, why am I growing peanuts? Well, the peanuts is one for oil. I also use the peanut meal to make fertilizer, and that's an 822 fertilizer that I use with the peanut meal. You'll see like these little yellow flowers in here. They're closed up right now, but this is actually what bakes the peanut. The peanuts don't come from the root of the plant. What it is, these plants spike themselves into the soil. That's where your peanut pods come from, or ground nuts as it's called in certain places. Right here we have another pepper plant. This is a yellow pepper, and you can see it's starting to put on some more peppers. And we've been harvesting off of these plants all year long. You have another Georgia candy roaster that I just put out. This is a brand new vine here, a Georgia candy roaster, and you see I'm pairing it with one of our dark opal basils. You have another Carolina Reaper here, a 2.2 million Scoville units. And right here we have some more of our long cayenne. We have a lot that needs to be harvested, so that's the reason why we're doing this walkthrough today. So once we do our harvest, we're gonna have everything bearing the fruits are gonna start over. And here is another one of those Goliath tomatoes. These thick leaves is what I really like about it. Now I really was thinking that the Goliath was gonna be a really big tomato, but it really is not a really big tomato, but it is a thick-skinned tomato. The insects tend to not bother it as much as the other tomatoes. So that's one of the things I like about this Goliath. I'm gonna be growing this more next year, and that's a determinant. This is another one of our zucchinis, and you can see she's got some fruit coming on down there. Got another one of our eggplants, and this is a black beauty. You can see she has flowers all over. So we're gonna be getting quite a few more eggplants out of here. This here is one of our Mars grapevines, and we just put this in this year. And this is again one of our dryer drums. This is a Mars grapevine. I'm not gonna give up on this one. This one's a red flame. Still got some life in it. I have no idea why it dropped all of its leaves, but we're gonna see what it's gonna do going up into next year as well. This is another one of our Mars grapevines, and it's been holding up throughout the season. Not a whole lot of pest pressure. It has had some pest activity over here, but for the most part, it's holding up pretty well. Now we'll come out here to our green gage. This is a green gage plum. This is a yellow Shiro plum here, and this one is doing extremely well. And we're gonna go ahead and fertilize it again going into the fall. Come down here. This is gonna be, I'm hoping, one of my favorites right here. This is that purple Italian. Now it's been getting hit pretty hard. Now I don't understand it too much because these are some thick leaves on here, but the Japanese beetle loved this plant. So that's something that we're gonna have to figure out. This is a dwarf Santa Rosa, and we put this in 2 years ago. We come over here, this is our Methley. This one here is the same age as that dwarf Santa Rosa. We had a few fruit on this year, but they dropped off. Go ahead and prune it pretty well. We should be able to get some fruit on this next year. But this right here is my little baby section. And right here you have all my cuttings. This right here is a chandler, and that's a cutting. I got this from a friend of mine. Here's another chandler here. That's one of my cuttings. I got that from the same person. This one, a chandler. Another chandler here. If you go back and look at our how to get free blueberry bushes, This here is one of the bushes that we had in that video, and you look at how much growth they had on that, and it's time to up pot this. This here is a perpetua, and this blooms all year long. The sun, it was struggling out here in the sun. This is a northern high bush, but I think it's going to be okay. This is another perpetua here, and it lost all of its leaves with all of that sun, but you can see some new growth coming on here, so it's going to be okay. This is a Biloxi, and you see all the new growth on here, so it's doing extremely well. And the Biloxi is a southern high bush. Right here is a sharp blue, and that's a southern high bush as well, and you can see the new growth on here. Right here is one of our figs, and I think this is a black mission. I have two black missions back here. I want to say this tall one here is a black mission. I'm looking at the leaf patterns on it. A yellow long neck. This is a champion fig here. So these here are our babies, and we're going to be finding some homes for them coming up for the new year. But for our August garden tour, that's about it. Growing out the box.